Well, hello, friends and neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here, and welcome to my deck. This is the first deck video of 2020. We've just kicked into March. It's actually the 1st of March on the weekend here, and it's gorgeous. It's about -3 outside, but I've got this sun deck. It's just plastic, but I'll tell you, it's beautiful. Today, because it was so nice, I almost went into a bourbon. But I've had this Cragganmore open a little bit since Valentine's Day. My beautiful wife gave me this wonderful bottle. And I thought I should share with you guys some. And it's a very light spirit, so I thought it kind of fits the deck. So this will be my thoughts on a distiller edition of Cragganmore. Thanks for staying with me through the break. This weekend, I actually was at a Two Brewers event, and I shot an interview of that. Going to be sharing it with you soon. And Daniel, Whiskey Throttle, was there giving me a hard time about my intro. I am actually looking to shorten my intro. I just haven't had the time. If you're a long-time follower of the channel, you know that I tend to grab a bottle, set up on my front porch or at the edge of the kitchen table or now here on the deck and just shoot my thoughts. I love it. I love the conversations, but I haven't invested in camera gear and whatnot because mostly, who has the time? Back to the whiskey. I'm sure you tuned in to hear a bit about Cragganmore. This is part of Diageo's Classic Malts line. They actually have now like a Classic Coastal and what other classic collection do they have? If you know a few more, just share some links down below. I think it's a great way to enlighten the community. But Cragganmore is part of the original 6 classic malts. I should have listed them here because I'll try to list them. I'll throw them down below in case I miss one. But let's see. Lagavulin, that's usually on my shelf all the time. Talisker, beautiful. Then we go to, let's see, Dalwhinnie, Glenkinchie, Cragganmore. And yeah, see, I knew I would miss one in the list. It'll either come to me in the middle of the review or I'll just put it down below. I think originally it was really a marketing thing just to try to say, hey, look, we've got a variety of styles and this represents some of those styles. I still kind of appreciate it. One day I'd love to have all of them at once and put them up on the wall or something. I tend to just kind of go in and out. Back to Cragganmore. So this is a distiller edition, and what they've done with distillers editions is they take a standard release, age it the way they normally do, and then they put it back into casks that the current master distiller gets to choose. This version is CGGD-6570. I'll also put that down below. Distilled in 2005 and bottled in 2018. So it's a 13-year-old Scotch. Would have been aged in ex-bourbon. And then this one was put back in, I believe it's for the last couple of years, but could be wrong. Could even just be that last year, right? Like they take their 12-year-old and put the 1 year. In export pipes. So that's kind of cool. So this one has had a touch of port finishing. It doesn't say, because it's export, I could be convinced this is natural color, but because it doesn't say, and this is bottled at a very light 40%, I suspect this is both filtered because of that light bottling at 40%, and it's probably colored just because it's coming from the big Diageo conglomerate and they probably want it to look a certain way. So those kind of knocks against it. But, information about the aging, 2005 to 2019, and the putting it back in port for that second casking is interesting. Let's talk a bit about the whiskey itself. This nose, I thought, really does fit a deck because I find it quite expressive and really rather fruity. Almost like a juicy fruit, right? So that could be tropical fruits, whatever that means to you. Not Not high on the citrus end, more on the, I don't know. Yeah, okay, if there's a citrus though, it's more like a sweet orange, like a, I don't know what that would be, a tangerine, mandarin orange. Yeah, okay, I could go with that. But then there's a roundness to it, so that could be a ripe banana. It's not like a heavy banana. Don't run there. I'm just saying kind of like a fruit cup. That'd be better. I know that's not as good as a fresh fruit to describe, but yeah, but really nice. This nose is expressive, open. I think would be worth considering. Yeah, this is a nice approachable nose. If you're looking for a lighter, sweeter, fruit-forward Speyside Scotch. Let's jump in. Sláinte. Again at 40%, this Scotch is probably not going to beat you up. You can put a bit of water in. I tend not to water, but sometimes it does kind of crack open the nose a bit and you get a few secondary aromas. But it's mild. It certainly doesn't ask for water. Up front on the palate, it's fairly light, not complicated. Malty, sweet, vanillas. Tiny bits of toffee and caramel. Not lots. Gentle. Thankfully, I find the back end of the palate, or when you're just swallowing, so almost the beginning of the finish, I do find a little bit of spicing. Spicing for me here go into deeper baking spices. So a hint of cinnamon, but not much, but lots more like a woody spice. Clove. Yeah, a little bit of nutmeg. So there are some spices that come through. What surprises me is, finished in port, I really expected some pretty juicy, deep wine notes. And maybe that's the fruiting, or the spicing. Maybe the secondary casking is where the spices come from too, because it is a real dark, woody spicing. Could even say a little bit of pipe tobacco. But if I say that, I don't mean lit, smoky stuff. I really don't get smoke in here. I do get a deeper wood note on the finish. And I think the finish sticks around. It's, medium longer. Again, I'm quite sure that extra finish is coming from that secondary casking, just to give it a little length. Now, I like this. It's fairly gentle, fruity up front. Malty, vanilla. Thankfully, a little spice comes there right in that early finish that does perk up on my tongue. Not overwhelming. I wouldn't describe it as a spicy Scotch. And it's certainly not heavily oaked. It's not really smoked. I think for those that are looking it's far more popular now to have bolder, bigger Scotches or bigger whiskeys. And sitting at 40%, and not bringing in like any of that kind of smoke, peat, or anything like that, I think this will disappoint a number of Scotch fans. However, I kind of like it. And I like it that most, at least 80% of the bottles on my shelf now, Scotch bottles, are either cask strength, heavily sherried, or heavily peated. And so this stands out on my shelf as a little bit more relaxed. I'm really glad I have it. I probably couldn't get up more than about 4 stars, which is a bit of a disappointing review. But mostly, it's got to be the sunshine. Today I'm liking it a little more. And I'm actually catching a little more secondary oak than, if you just come in and shoot a review and you're just going off your notes, it's fair. You've been at it a few times. But just today, maybe because I was drinking quite a bit of younger Canadian single malt, but this definitely has some wood notes coming through that I was not, I I was not picking up before. Yeah, that's pretty tasty. It's bumping just even over 4 stars for me. 4.25. I don't usually do quarters, but I just hesitate going to 4.5 because my 4.5 to 5 star range are must buys. And I can't say this is a must buy, but I will say if you're in the Edmonton region or in St. Albert, I'm going to forget the name of the fellow that owns the store here. Olympia Liquor has been open a little bit. He has this on sale. So a nice 13-year-old, good historied Scotch. And I think he's got it down for about 70, 75, somewhere in there. Canadian. That's a really good price because one of the knocks for the Distillery series, this Cragganmore in particular, is that it tends to be overpriced. I had seen it on the shelf for like $120. Knock $40 off that. And now we're talking, this is still a quality Scotch. I stand behind certainly at least 4 stars. Today I'm liking a bit more. And I'm glad I have it on my shelf. Thanks for dropping in for what is a beautiful day. I hope you poured a little bit of whatever you had, maybe a Speyside, something finished in sherry or port, and what did you get? If you have this exact one, I know critically online because I do search that. I think it didn't come up strong, but I'm going to say this is a good Scotch. Thanks for joining me on the deck. You guys have a great Sunday.